Started. Welcome to Organized and Disorganized Play in Tabletop RPGs. Featuring games and organized play systems such as Dungeons & Dragons and Pathfinder, and their requisite organized play systems, D&D Adventures League, and the Pathfinder Society, all of which I like to refer to as the Coke and Pepsi of tabletop RPGs.
Why do we have to be Pepsi?
We're more sugary. Because we're sweeter. I'm going to sound like an egoist in that only I have a slide here, so I will shut up after introducing myself. Hi everyone, my name is Casey, pronouns are he, him. I am the head of the MAGFest Pathfinder department, and if ever you're interested in volunteering with us or learning more, here's my contact information. This is also a wonderful picture of me dressed as Luigi running the Philadelphia Broad Street run a few years ago. But I would also love to my co-panelists, please introduce yourselves, who you are, what you do.
All right, I'm Eleanor Jenner, pronouns she, her. I am the Adventure Lieutenant for Paizo Organized Play in the San Francisco South Bay area. So we do Pathfinder and Starfinder Organized Play. So for instance, here at this particular convention, I will be running Starfinder every day so that people can try out the new 2nd edition.
Fresh from Gen Con. It still has that new rulebook smell to it. And now you do.
Yes.
And then
We'll take that question in a moment.
I am Jonathan, the disorganized play portion of this probably, as I am the growthy of growthy gaming. So I'm the one who heads the tabletop department here and at multiple other gaming adjacent conventions. My big role in these is tabletop always exists, but it often sucks. So we are here to fix that and make sure we have all of the options, the organized, the disorganized, the everything that should be there.
cool.
All right, just real quick, there was a question from the audience.
For Starfinder 2A,
Yes.
2E, did they ever add boarding actions?
But they happen to be, Starship combat in general is now fully narrative, so yes.
Okay.
So you can board as much as you want throughout the story.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. All right. So, because this is a MAGFest convention, we are going to be trying to gamify this panel a little bit using the Poll Everywhere application. You can either scan that QR code and or go to the website URL linked below. It may take you to a login page. By the powers that be, you should not have to log in. We'll just wait for me to get to an actual active poll. So, looks like everyone has their devices, you're tapping on things, you're able to get to a Casey person hasn't started anything yet. All right. So, as we go along, there will be a few more QR codes, or I can hop back to that. So, if you could please, just for a test answer, how familiar are you with tabletop role-playing games, or TTRPGs, as the kids on the Snapchat are saying?
Are they?
Are they really?
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
I've heard this term.
Yeah, those videos that I saved 8 years ago, they're still calling them TTRPGs.
I can't say many times, but I've heard this term.
Yep, possibly right here, right now.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got a lot of people who are familiar with these, and hopefully we can push that to a full A-lot load. Follow-up question, how familiar are you with organized play systems?
They exist.
They do.
I'm sure.
Right. We're talking about them now, so it's not a new concept at least.
Oh, yeah.
I can use a singular vote for a lot.
All right, so hopefully we'll move the not at all to at least a little, and the a little to 100% a lot.
Yeah.
We'll get there in time. All right, so we will be using Poll Everywhere a little bit throughout this, so please feel free to keep your devices out and on you. So I'm messing with the numbers here. All right, gotta advance. So, why this topic? Wonderful picture of an elf disarming a trap. Mm-hmm. So there are worlds of TTRPG offerings, both at MAGFest and the greater wide world, and the goal of this panel is to help you all find and understand what there is so you can make the best choice for what you are looking for. There is no right or wrong answer, Paizo Organized Play, but it's really ultimately what brings you the most joy in whatever situation you're looking to play or game something.
Was that the wrong answer? Earlier? That mysterious.
No, there is no wrong answer, but just the right answer is Paizo Organized Play.
Oh, okay, suggestive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Outline, we've done our introduction. We're going to be talking about organized play, its advantages, its challenges, and where and how to get involved. We'll then talk about disorganized play, its advantages and challenges, and how to get involved. Summary and conclusion, and then, if there's time, a short, live, poll everywhere based Titiviger experience. So stick around if you want to see how a PowerPoint can be used to run a campaign. Disclaimer. Despite what I am saying, everything in this presentation are our personal experiences and opinions, therefore not to be taken as facts. We are not directly sponsored by any companies, manufacturers, creators, or organizations mentioned. We are volunteers presenting here at MAGFest. We are volunteers for the organized play system. And there will be more games offered here that we can realistically explain in this time window, so please go forth and explore. Now, tabletop role-playing games. What is a role-playing game, everyone?
Roll dice, play game.
Yeah, that checks out.
To be another
Roll and play. Yeah, just
Yeah,
roll
that
dice.
works.
There's no other part of that.
Roll dice and no. Okay, so we have being another character and then just throwing numbers at a board and not thinking about anything else. All right, two distinct opinions there. Describe action, roll dice, determine outcome. That is accurate. A form of purgatory. You know, in the worst situations that can be, a role-playing game is a wish that your heart makes. That's beautiful. I like to think that a role-playing game is really the friends that we made and journeys we had along the way. But being another character, excuse to collect lots of marginally useful shiny math rocks, someone has a very good vocabulary and a very good understanding of why conventions go, and a game in which you play a role. That is quite possibly the most literal definition here. Thank you all for that.
I've been spelling it wrong all along.
And now we'll learn
Yeah, together.
as a panel.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So, defined by the player core rulebook in the Pathfinder game system, a role-playing game is an interactive story where one player, the game master or GM, sets the scene and presents challenges, while the other players take the role of characters in navigating that story. There's a lot of other long flowing text here that I will not spend the time to fill, but it sounds like most people here have a good understanding of role-playing game. You embody a character, you experience or move yourself or others through a narrative, and you experience outcomes through rolling dice or other things. This past year at Super, I got to play a version of the game Dread, which is role-playing, but rather than dice, you pull Jenga blocks whenever you do something, and it's kind of like, all right, I'm gonna pick that block. Have you ever done that before? Not in my life. Pull 5 Jenga blocks, and we'll see how well this goes. It was incredible.
I really want to try this because I'm really good at Jenga, but I'm also an asshole at Jenga.
Oh, fantastic.
So I think I'd fuck us over because I would make it difficult just because that's fun.
Fair warning to the rest of your group then.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the sort of situation where it's like, yeah, build the narrative tension.
Yeah, oh god. So here's an important question that I want to ask all of you. What do you look for when choosing a role-playing game? And for those who just came in, if you're able to scan the QR code in that top right, you can take part of the live responses for this.
That's a question, are you referring to a specific system or like a specific group playing a game?
Either or. Is there a system or certain mechanic that you like? Are you looking for more like socializing, camaraderie, things like that? Do you really want to flex how good of a great sword wielder you can build?
Do you want to do math for the next 3 hours?
Or pull Jenga blocks?
Mm-hmm.
Or some other third thing?
If a role-playing game is a wish your heart makes, then this question is just, whatever you want. Follow your dreams.
What was that wish?
Yeah.
So we have fun storytelling, a focus on narrative, a type of fantasy genre or storytelling space that I'm interested in. Okay, so like really choosing a setting and playing within that world. The ability system chosen to sell me and my PCs on the intended fantasy. Okay, so like how much, so like both of these. The investment of your time, your imagination, what really will kind of build and hold your attention to things like that. Ways to avoid combat if you're still, all right, you can fight or you can talk through, there's more than one route, lots of mechanical options. Okay, so really what, in summary point, this group here is looking for like a good narrative setting or experience that has a variety of kind of game mechanics or flexibility to say, cool, you can fight the thing, you can distract the thing, you can can seduce the thing, you can some fourth, fifth, or sixth other, whatever you want the thing. There are multiple ways to succeed. Great.
Yeah, you can thing the thing.
Exactly. You can think the thing, or as where I'm from, you can John the John. So we'll now talk a little bit about organized play, which is a kind of slightly regulated narrative event where you can take any character you make through either D&D Adventures League, Paizo Organized Play, or any other systems that may exist to essentially any org play event in the world, allowing you to enjoy a game with friends and strangers alike. You could play Starfinder here at MAGWest 2025. Then you could go to Super 2026 or a local gaming convention where these games are being offered. And wherever you bring that character, wherever you bring kind of little receipts and stuff that we'll talk about, all of their experience tracks. Even though you're playing in a different place, at a different time, likely with different people, you can still go into all these experiences and say, this is who I am, this is who I bring, this is what I can do. So what to expect? Organized play adventures are episodic, with each game being structured as part of a one-shot that lasts between 2 to 4 hours. The easiest way that I can say this is, rather than like, as you would maybe in a home campaign where it's a long-going story, there's the potential to have kind of really deep storylines or background work and stuff. Think of that as kind of like a full movie, whereas organized play is kind of like you make a character and then these are small little episodes in kind of the series of their life. So you can pop in and out however much your scheduler makes it available to you, and after each session, as I mentioned before, anything you do, anything you earn, experience, treasure, rewards, and similar, that all gets accrued and tracked with your character. So they will level up and progress over time, even though it may not be within your home area. Eleanor, any more that you want to say on just what to expect for organized play?
I definitely, at least when it comes to Paizo Organized Play, see a sort of episodic TV show is exactly sort of the example I always go for, and that generally there's multiple seasons, each one will have a storyline, but you don't have to like invest into it. You make your own schedule, when you have time, you can make it to a game either at a convention or at a game store or wherever it's organized, and you can pop in and you can experience that story along with the other players. And then, if you can't make the next episode, it's fine. And then, you have all of your characters, they travel with you, so if you're someone who's like traveling a whole bunch, you can bring your character with you and experience a different group outside of your normal one. Or if you're just having a really bizarre schedule, and be like, well, all right.
No firm commitments. And thank you for mentioning that it is an episodic series, but kind of like any good show, there are overall narratives to the season. So while not every single adventure within the 2026 season will change the face of the world, there will be plot through lines on past events and future ones, and depending on what happens at your table, that counts as like 1 point towards a certain path that the overall worldwide narrative can go. When Pathfinder made the jump from first edition to second edition, they published a book on what has happened in this world over the past 10 years. And I truly was going through it being like, I was there, I did that, I didn't know the outcome came out that way. It was fantastic to kind of see the small footprint that I and my fellow gamers in Philadelphia at the time were able to make on this huge narrative structure.
One day there will be an organized play reporting condition that I actually get the correct outcome because I have a great record of always picking the wrong path.
No gold found, no renown.
No, it's more when it comes to the reporting conditions, it's well, you can have, what did your party choose to do with, so-and-so? Did they keep him alive or did they kill him? And every time it's well, my group did the thing that's not canon now.
Put to a coma, great.
Yep.
How is this run? We'll speed through this. I will say that for anyone who does like to read lots of text on slides, all of this will be available at the end of the event. There will be a QR code and URL. You can see a full copy of this. You can download it. I seeded links all throughout, so please use this if you'd like to learn more. But organized play games, they are all pre-written by accomplished narrativists. There's a better word for that, but that's author. Thank you, author. That's a far better word than what my sleep-deprived brain just threw up. You run a pre-written adventure, essentially talking to a range of characters, so levels 1 to 4, 3 to 7, 5 to 8, and there's flexibility within that to say, cool, if we're all a bunch of strapping level 7 adventurers, and John is a level 3 bard that forgot to buy a weapon, I like to refer to it as the narrative Kaioken, but his character would get a boost while all of ours would face an appropriate challenge level. Game sessions are scheduled for 1, 2, 3, 4 hours of time, so you can plan your day or your evening around it as needed. And even if you haven't made a character, there is a full stable of pre-made options that are available to use that are great for testing out the game, testing out the system. Hey, I've always been a wizard. How does a barbarian's rage feature work? And how much can I really do with all that extra hit points? It's a really good way to kind of take a character for a test drive and see how you feel about it. In terms of gameplay, scenarios are typically rated as like PG to PG-13 for combat. Some GMs may lean more on the horror side, on the dramatic side. I read every single Terry Pratchett book, so I go to cartoony and satirical, for better or for worse. I haven't had too many tables to complain about it, but it all works. And a variety of these adventures, you really have to get to the higher tier adventures before it really gets into territory of like, okay, this is not as newcomer friendly. There is always a fair aspect of learn to play, good to onboard. Pretty much every game master I've had, or I feel like any, really respectable or worthwhile game master will always be welcoming and inviting and kind of help that, okay, let's learn by doing if you are new to the game and the system at all. Big thing, as I think we faffed around a lot earlier on, is the idea of yes-anding whenever possible. Even if the rules say, no, you can't do that, you can say, all right, well, here's the unreported third option that your players
or it's more like a lot of scenarios as they're written are like, all right, here's the list of skills that would work, but if your players can come up with a solution that you feel works, let them do it.
Mm-hmm. I had a game where a friend of mine was playing the Dwarven Barbarian Junk Iron Loins, one of the greatest names I've ever heard. And we didn't know it at the time, but because all adventures require this, we had to do an extensive reading of legal documents. Our characters did. And we were all like, oh my god, who can we have anything, can we even do this? And then Junk Iron Loins finally revealed the end of his character sheet, which had Esquire in pen at the end. Pulled out a small pair of glasses and revealed, yes, I have max ranks in linguistics and lore legal. I am master of letters, Junk Iron Loins, Dwarven lawyer, and pickpocket. So yeah, there are great opportunities for these table stories. Finally, tracking. At the end of each organized play session, players will have a chronicle sheet, a reporting sheet, or something similar, and this is kind of the homework of your adventure. This tracks the adventure that you did, who played it, date, time, location, signature by the GM, but the most important things are your experience, the treasure that you found, and any cool MacGuffins or similar NPCs that you have recruited or made along the way. Because all of this, like I said, no matter, you'll play a year later in a different state, a different country, a different event, it'll all track and it'll all be verified by the next people at the next table that you play with. So do your homework, adventurers. I have a lot of options and stuff here, but before I delve into this, are there any advantages that y'all can think of? I'll be asking you guys in the audience in a moment.
Okay, for us first.
Yes, for the co-panelists.
Yeah.
What are some advantages that you think are for organized play games?
You know what, I'll make you go first, because I have some answers.
This is for you, have real answers. As the disorganized one of the group, clearly the advantages here, we've been modifying a lot of the games that we play, the different systems and everything, to be one-shots, to be very beginner-friendly, or maybe not even necessarily beginner-friendly, but to be let's have a really good time and just scratch the surface. And you can go and do and learn and get deeper experiences later, join guilds and groups and communities. The advantage I see here is you're giving both. Because with the organized play system, you've scratched the surface, now you have a permanent thing. Now you have a way to contribute, to participate further. If you are going to go crazy and dive deeper, you can literally just start signing up for everything and immediately be in everywhere. And we can even have those, like you said, higher level one-shots where they are not for the faint of heart, not for those beginners. So I definitely see the advantages there over the let's just sit down and have a fun time for today and move on.
Alright, so yeah, for me, one of the advantages directly pulled from sort of my own experience with it was it provided a framework that allowed me to actually play TTRPGs. Like, I could never get a group of people to actually want to try them. And this, like, organized play was like, okay, now I can actually join a group, it's drop in, I can actually try it, see if I like role-playing games. Spoilers, I did.
What? That's why you're here?
Yeah, whoa. And but at the time, like, I was in school, I was across the country, I traveled back home, back to California. It provided me the opportunity to play games regardless if I was at school or if I was at home. So that was another advantage. And then it's really nice to have sort of a flexible schedule. That's one of the other big problems when it comes to a disorganized group, is you then have to sit everyone down and have them fill in a survey of like, what times are you available so that we can maybe have our next game? Whereas organized play is, all right, so it's every Friday at 6:30, be there or don't, show up if you can.
Tabletop is scheduled similar with fantasy DLC.
Yeah.
Question on that. So when you're saying it gave you the opportunity to play, I hear a lot of times the challenge is either you're going to DM or you're going to play. Like, it's so hard to end up bridging that gap. Did you mean it gave you the chance to finally play because you got DM'd, or you meant just in general?
In general, like, I couldn't experience role-playing games because, like, I couldn't get my friends to actually want to try them. And then it can be really scary if, like, you've never done a role-playing game before, and it's, well, you're the one who has to GM because no one else wants to read the rules.
Yeah.
And that can be kind of intense. So it's also a good way, if you're a little bit more experienced than I was, to like try a new system out and be like, well, maybe I want to play Pathfinder before I run it for my group because I don't know anything about the rules. So it's a good way to do that too.
My introduction to organized play was I had moved from Virginia to Philadelphia, and I knew no one, had minimal to no job prospects, was sleeping on many, many couches at the time, but I was like, I like rolling dice and making believe. That's a good escapist from the living situation that I was in at the time. And it was great because didn't have to know anyone ahead of time, could just show up at a game store, given date, given time, learn to play the game. That's eventually how I learned to GM games and kind of started doing that. So it's a really, really great way to kind of low stakes get involved or even just find a community if your current one is not as interested as you would hope them to be. And so as we kind of talked about here, it's a standardized and balanced experience. The game is, straightforward. There's not going to be a lot of house rules, or you know what to expect when you go in. Games can be played whenever and wherever. Scheduling availability, huge, huge. Say goodbye to the doodle poll that you send to all of your friends monthly or weekly. Anything you achieve carries with you and travels with you. And as we've all kind of discussed, this can be a great way to just meet people, make friends, find a community, or kind of nurture your own within that realm.
Yeah, I know with our own local group, it used to be sort of our own belief that the best thing we could do is hook you up with other players, and then you would leave us to form your own cool group, and play your own adventures.
Come in, make friends, never come back for the best reasons.
Yeah, for the best reasons.
Yeah.
That's actually something I've been wondering about for a really long time, because it seems like the semi-organized play that I've been a part of, that has been the goal, is like, for example, my freshman dorm when I was an undergrad, back when 8 years ago or something, it was, we just like grabbed a whole bunch of people together, put people together in games, and I was the GM then, and I kind of like broke my group off, and I just wondered, like, how does a group continue, how does like a organized play group continue to function if that is the intended goal?
Well, I think we have some disorganized play to talk about at some point.
Perhaps, yeah. What I will also say that organized play is really, really good for is to cheat on your home game if you actually want to play a game or play something different.
Oh,
you can have your like regular recurring monthly game that has a strong, emotionally deep and rich narrative and plot line, and then 2 weeks out of the month you could go with a group of strangers and roll dice and just see how far you can punt a goblin across the horizon. So mix of wants and interests and best of both worlds there.
Fair enough.
Some challenges though when it comes to organized play. It does require more strict adherence to the rules and guidelines, which may potentially limit your creative inspirations. This is all to ensure that everyone has a good, fair, and equal time, that someone coming in after 10 years of experience and someone who has literally never played before can both understand and trust we're all playing by the same rules. This means that you may be more restricted when you start off, but a lot of these systems have ways to say, okay, you want to play an android cleric that worships a future deity who gives out spells by how many people like, follow, and subscribe them. Yeah, cool. You can absolutely do that. Just get a few games under your belt, and then you will have earned that tier, the quote-unquote battle pass. Because of that, there can be less flexibility in character creation. Every adventure may not cater to every player's own specific wants, or again, if you're playing a barbarian, you may find yourself in more of a researchy or sleuthing adventure, or vice versa. So it's good to kind of, there's a brief synopsis before each adventure that comes up. You can kind of get an idea of, who will this be? Should I bring my fire-blasting sorcerer or my deep and insightful rogue character? It goes both ways. And because that it is on a time slot, especially at kind of conventions or events, sometimes it may feel rushed. If you're kind of having a lot of fun in the first half, you may kind of have to really power through any combat at the end just to make sure that you conclude at a certain time. But these are all things to kind of come up and be mindful of. I wouldn't say they're things to write it off if it has been of an interest to you, though.
This brings a question to mind. How easy is it to end up with, a lot of character exploration to, like...
Yeah, I would
it
say
sounds
that's one
very
of the
much-
big disadvantages of organized play, is because it is an organized slot. Generally, if you're running pre-written content, you're not really going to have an opportunity to explore your character's backstory outside of, if you know the group well, and you're like, hey, can I have a moment here? And the other disadvantage I can think of is it's pre-written adventure. You're going to start it and you're going to end it. And generally, you're going to have to stay on whatever the path is to get there. There might be some flexibility if your GM's good and knows what they're doing, but that is, I think, one of the biggest complaints I've heard of, like, well, we gotta stay on track.
I think going on with that, so much of a character's development is based on their interactions with other PCs and other NPCs, and by necessity with different DMs and different players, you just can't get that as much as organized.
Like you as a player, if that's a thing you're deeply invested in, can keep records of that, of like, hey, I met this one player and like they had all these cool things and like my character wouldn't take notes and like I want to like pick up this new weapon because I saw someone else use it. And like, yeah, you can write your own story on that and keep it to yourself, and it's like, but that's not going to be something that's going to be, you can't really tell your GM like, hey.
So a lot more, really leaning in on that kind of like, these are episodic moments in their experience. When I first started playing, I had the fantasy that all of my characters shared the same dorm room in the Adventuring Guild.
Oh, I'm
so
glad
they would
I'm not
all,
the only
yeah,
one.
swap and share stories from their like 5-bed high bunks. Question to you all though. So based on what we said, pros and cons, why might someone choose to join an organized play game? It's as if I'm looking for positive answers because I have a lot of time and emotion deeply built into this game system.
Just give negative answers.
Yeah, as someone who also has a lot of time and emotions in this game system, negative answers. Come on, tell us why we suck.
Thanks, no, I'm so fragile.
I just want the chaos. Come on.
You're right, I'm sorry. We'll get to disorganized play after this. We want to go into the chaos world. You'll have a new system, put a fresh coat of paint, exactly, try out something new, travel around or can't find people who play with them, on a schedule because they're late. It's amazing how you type that and you don't even have a phone on your hands. That's incredible. Magic.
That's what having a wife in the audience is for.
Oh, God. To live through a storyline with awesome people. Thank you, other half of John's side. Reliable games, trying out new mechanics. Goblin punting, yes. There was in the group that I was playing games with. It became an initiation rite where at some point, if an adventure happened near a volcano or a suitable source of lava, each character would have to drink lava.
Did we survive?
Death is permanent still in organized play games, and that was a really great way to see how committed are you to your build.
Time to try a new character.
There you go.
The poll post before I could say, but I do want to say low commitment. Disorganized play takes a lot of commitment to keep a game running.
Exactly. And organized play, again, is that pop in, pop out. You want to try something, you don't like the system, you don't like your character, you don't like the group. You are not beholden to anyone or anything. You can just say, cool, that was great, not for me. Find something else. Just a few quick things for anyone who is wanting to run these games. Please communicate with your players before the session so they know what to expect and what to do. Share the focus amongst players. Even though one person may be really leading the charge, everyone at the table deserves the time to feel like they're contributing. So if one person is being very gung-ho, make the space check and say, okay, you're doing that. What would your character react to? What are you thinking of? While all this is kind of going on, at the back, what are you guys doing to keep a watch? Just for personal experience, it really helps to ensure everyone's having a good time by checking in with everyone from time to time. And also, please, if you're using maps for combat, draw them ahead of time whenever you have a chance. Start with the final encounter first, so that you're not like, all right, we have 20 minutes left, it's really cinematic. You're fighting in a circle, and there's some dots. Look out for the dots, they explode. They're magical landmines that are also spiders, but not. Hurry!
I mean, I'm just gonna chime in real quick.
Please.
Organized play, disorganized play, communicate with your group. I think that's like the most critical advice you will ever get for any role-playing game. Just talk to the other people.
Yep. Tips for players, have a plan for how you want to make your character. You don't have to have every single choice, but like, all right, you're gonna realistically get to level 6 with a character. What are you gonna do along that way? Keep track of your documents, like I said, after each game you get a little piece of homework. Keep a hold of that. And if you are finding that your character works a lot better in your mind than when you're actually rolling dice, you can freely remake them, retrain them. You are not committed to anything until you get like hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours deep into a system. Some more things. For the sake of time, I'll say, look at the resources at the end for this. More on organized play. This is a panel from the D&D Adventures League from Super a few years ago. We can watch that later.
Good.
How to get involved. We have organized play games here at MAGWest, being run by Eleanor. We're going to be debuting the Starfinder 2E system with signups available through the schedule, through the attractions link. There are pre-made characters that you can grab and jump in with and hit the action. Like we said, after each one, you will have rewards and experience to continue along afterwards. In your community, games can be offered at game stores, libraries, schools, and universities. Games can be found virtually or in person by checking, the Bay Area Pathfinder.com website.
Our website? Whoa!
You can search for games there through Eleanor, the community that she is from. You can also use Warhorn, Meet Up, and Start Playing Games. Start Playing Games is a paid gaming service though, but Warhorn and Meet Up, I know from personal experience, can be a great way to kind of find events near you. And if you can't find something, reach out to one of these venues or one of these platforms and see if you can organize something yourself. Any questions about organized play?
All right, I think it's disorganized playtime.
All right, thank you all for your patience. We will get to the chaos side. What is disorganized play? In simple, it's basically everything that is not what we've just been talking about. This is the traditional homebrew game. This is the traditional getting some friends over in the basement, in the roof, wherever you may gather friends and just having a fun time. John, how do you define disorganized play?
So I've personally never DM'd, but I've played in a handful, and there have always been homebrew campaigns. So disorganized play to me would be more that style, get the friends together, what are we going to dive into, what is your DM doing for the week. It gets a lot of disorganized in scheduling and availabilities for sure, but you get so many crazy like universes and things. I had a friend that ran the Call of Cthulhu style game he made, where it was based on John Steinbeck novels, where John Steinbeck was an NPC you had to keep alive.
Oh my God.
You were the characters in the novel around him, and he interwove it so wonderfully with literal pictures from the events. Like in that one, we had gone to the World's Fair in SF, and he interwove it so wonderfully with pictures and things from the actual World's Fair that you were like, that's creepy. No, that was a normal marketing event they did. What? Yeah, to this day, Disney apparently showed up and showed off a cartoon and gave everyone these bunny masks. So there's a picture they took of the audience.
Just all in bunny masks.
Creepy as fuck.
Nice.
Oh my god.
Nice.
Yeah. But you get really cool, crazy stories, and they can be really fun. They can be very wonky though, and I feel like the big disorganized part is in, especially longer stories, is in keeping the engagement going week after week. Because that's always the challenge with me. I have such a variable schedule. At some point I need to drop out. And so being able to do that, or finding a way to be able to edit your character out, or not letting the band just disband entirely, that is a big part of the disorganized bits towards it.
That is the saddest part of any story when it just kind of falls
Yeah.
apart.
Mm-hmm.
Where's our finale? We don't know either.
We didn't make it there.
Yeah.
What's that? Eleanor, thoughts or experiences on disorder play for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of similar. I've definitely had those groups where it's like everything was going great and then schedules changed or just the passion wasn't there, and it's like, well, the finale is that we all agreed to stop playing. And but yeah, otherwise it can have some really crazy moments as people are telling all kinds of wild tales. That thing about the World Fair sounds actually really cool.
Oh, I know. I keep telling him he needs to publish it. It's amazing.
Mm.
It's like Defunct Land meets
Yep.
Roll20. So overall, that is, disorganized play is essentially what I think 90% of the world thinks of when you say, I play D&D, or similar, or any other role-playing game. Advantages, as John expertly regaled us with, the GM is in complete control of the game's setting. You choose a system, you choose where it takes place, it can make sense, it doesn't have to. But the GM and the players are in full control of everything that happens in that world. Due to that, there is utmost flexibility in character creation and customization. I'll say this later on, but I recommend checking with the GM to say, hey, I have this idea. How well will this fit with what you have planned? Or can we work together to make sense of this? Greater control of the creative world, and the GM has the ability to tailor the game or adjust it as it goes along to whatever seems most engaging for the players. If you strike a nugget at the John Steinbeckian call of World's Fair Ulu adventure, you realize, okay, they're vibing more with this than that, I can give them more of this, and then we'll see how that spins into something at all. Furthermore, the potential for more unique and memorable experiences. Everyone involved can determine the length of time, whether you have an hour, whether you have an entire day, whether you have a weekend, non-stop, MAGWest. Characters can be tailored specifically to what they want of this, and you can pick and choose exactly which rules and systems you want to follow. I have learned that is a very, very, very important thing as I've gotten more and more experience with this, and it's, hey, I don't like how this system works, or this mechanic functions. All right, forget it, let's change it, let's make it more fun. I was playing in a game where we were trying to track down these like haunted dolls, and each one, it was like the third or fourth one that we were encountering, each one is like, oh, I'm possessed by a magical sorcerer, you must fight me and such. The game master, she realized, okay, we're probably getting tired of that. I introduce to you now the puppet games. And she Toy Story'd our adventuring party into like action figures and dolls themselves. And we competed in a brutal Olympiad series of events. It was fantastic.
Meanwhile, I was more thinking is like, rather than just having a group chat where we complain about power creep and how the new book that just came out is like completely ruining everything, we can just ban it or change how those items work. Or just go, yeah, you know what? That terrible feat, let's make it good.
Yeah, let's just not listen to this. No one says we have to. They're not the boss of us after they have our money.
Yeah, exactly. Only after you've given them the money.
Only after. Support local independent creators as well, everyone.
Yeah, please.
So because of all of this flexibility, there are still some challenges. The greater potential for unbalanced encounters or character abilities. I feel like the vibe that I'm getting from the table and the room is that we have all been there at one point, at one time, with that one other player who really loved to show off how good they were at everything. And so as a GM, I say, let's work together to find ways to, kind of like I said before, find ways to make other characters shine, even if one person is No, and they're not kind of stealing the show. Because of all this, there can be less support and guidance from published materials, so there is great degree of flexibility, but you kind of have to be comfortable with going out into the blank spaces, into the uncharted lands of where new rules can be mined fresh in the imaginative earth. More opportunities for disagreement among players over rules and interpretations as well. Keep a good, cohesive, hey, we can bicker about this, we can argue about this, but ultimately we are all investing personal time to have fun together. We want to keep that up. Making sure that there is a clear goal or the scope and intent for the game, that you don't go too far outside the lines and leave players and game masters and kind of no man's land of that, okay, why are we here? What are we doing? What have we been doing for the past few weeks? I've totally forgotten the thread of everything.
Yeah, I didn't write anything down.
Smash? Okay, there we go. There we go. And whether it's important to you or not, with organized play, your characters travel with you. With disorganized play, those characters stay within those realms, unless they're part of a very large family with lots of siblings and different rule sets in it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Or you make a cool character. I realized this happened to me. I made a cool character that another friend started a new campaign. He's like, I'm gonna throw you in the background as an NPC.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Just populate with your world with the players of other games past.
Alternatively, you just keep building the same character in every game that you're in.
Yep.
You'll never get tired of it.
That too. So, audience, why might someone choose to join a disorganized play game? How far could you push that? And just make the same character over and over and over and over?
I've heard some stories.
I think it depends more on your tolerance than theirs.
Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah, it's like it's 100% your tolerance, but man, I've heard some stories like, yeah, it's been 30 years and he's still playing the same wizard.
Just every time you have to remake them, put another hash. Okay, junior. Okay, the third. Okay,
Yeah.
Just keep doing that and see how far it gets.
Oh, perfect. That's how you track it. They're just just the same name across time.
Yes, we're from this lineage.
Yeah.
Just add another page to your multi-page backstory.
Oh, there you go. So why might someone choose to join a disorganized play game? World building is fun. Have spent way too much time running a world and the sunk cost fallacy kicks in. That also works.
So accurate.
These games are disorganized themselves to a greater or lesser degree. Yes, all of these will be organized and disorganized. Masochism, yep, perfect. No immediate friend group to play with, work play, or no immediate organized friend group to play with, that also works. Consistency, building friendships, greater creative control, focus on PCs, really wanting or needing that time investment to kind of nurture and develop all of that. As I said, stronger personal narratives, enjoying social dynamics, might want to play as a goblin who loves punting. Hey! What a novel idea! Hi, I'm Punty, the goblin punted. Homebrew is just generally fun. Yeah, these are fantastic, y'all. Thank you for your show. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. So some quick tips for GMs as we are running out of time. Conduct a session 0 to talk to your players and make sure everyone knows what we're doing, what we're building, what the goals are, and hey, does any of that need to change before we get started?
TTRPG safety toolkit.
Yep, TTRPG safety toolkit, use your X card, make sure that you have a way of indicating when and what content might be on the horizon so that players can indicate that is not for me, can we please step around that?
Listen, while we're shouting things out, I just want to say if any of you play over Discord online and you want to use safety tools, a lot of the existing safety tools are adapted to in-person physical play, which is why they're very visual. I would actually really recommend adapting some of those things that involve visuals into like soundboard uses of like the Discord soundboard.
For the sake of the recording and anyone who watches afterwards, it was a comment of adapting those more visual content safety cues into like audible audio, soundboard, or kind of give them 1+ way of responding to things like that. And yes, you, sir, your hand up.
Actually, some of this goes back to like how stuff like this might be done in organized play. I don't think you covered that particularly, but like, how might you go about like making sure you don't run into like a content warning or something for one of your players? You have any thoughts about that?
I mean, at least when it comes to Pathfinder and such, the scenarios themselves do have content warnings, as well as there's a recently introduced tag for all ages, so like it's particularly appropriate for children. But otherwise, it's like that is one of the potential issues. Is it's kind of on you to read that summary and make that judgment call of, do I think I'm okay with this?
Yeah, I know from my experience with the pre-written adventures, a lot of them kind of deal towards they try very hard, and the disclaimer at the front of basically every adventure and every rulebook is, have a discussion, know what you're doing, be mature with that, be respectful with that, be respectful to the content and your players and everything, and yeah, utilize a lot of what was mentioned before, safety toolkits, X cards, things like that to kind of say, hey, this is where the scenario may go. It involves giant mosquitoes the size of Dobermans. If someone is not comfortable with mosquitoes in general, much less that, you can say, okay, cool. We'll still be fighting them, but flavorly, we'll change these into a more comfortable subject matter and stuff than that. So kind of finding ways to change, lessen, heighten, or divert without necessarily like having to skip the narrative or like completely create something new in that regard. So along with that, kind of communicating to players to know, hey, this is how you can let us know if there's anything you want or need to avoid content-wise. Also letting them know, hey, we're going to be using some really, really specific game mechanics here. We're playing next week. Take some time to maybe review this so we're all comfortable with that and we're not learning as we're doing in the moment. And as mentioned of Discord earlier, thank you for that. Something that I really like is learning what can you do outside of game time, inventory management, character conversations, backtracking, so that you can prioritize, we're all here together, let's actively game together.
You mean making a smoother session?
Perhaps being efficient in time management.
That doesn't sound disorganized.
No, not at all. So forget I just said that, let's skip it. It sounds like homework. Yeah, I'm sorry, org play guy. I'm all about homework and rules and just, spreadsheets. Oh, I love them. Tips for players, opposite side of that, discuss the theme of the game with the game master and your fellow players to make certain that what you're all doing works. Have an idea of who will do what in the party so that it can be balanced, or just say, yeah, no, screw that. We're doing 4 white mages in classic Final Fantasy I style. Bring it on. I played a game where everyone was an exact copy of the same character. So it was a team of 6 wizard siblings going off to find their 7th missing sibling. And every encounter was, I cast a spell and take a 5-foot step back. I cast a different spell and I take a 5-foot step back. Oh god, they're running! Any quick tips for players from either of you?
I mean, I'll note you could do that in organized play too. I remember talking to some authors of some scenarios where they specifically mentioned that they have, as they referred to it, Obozaya-proofed a scenario, which is to say, could a party of all soldiers just make it through the scenario? Not even like full rewards, just make it to the end.
Just heads down charge.
Yeah, a few pieces of advice. Again, I've never DM'd, but things I've learned over the times of being a player. Take notes. Don't be that guy that shows up going, wait, what did we do last time? Take notes. And always talk to your DM about, again, the cool things you want to do, but also the like, oh, I can't be there, or the character that actually they're going to do in use as an NPC. That was one of the homebrew sessions I needed to step away from. And so we literally ended up in an almost accidentally an almost full party wipe. And they decided the dragon just shows up and kind of oops saves us. And I'm like, make him kidnap me. And it made enough sense canonically. But I had chatted ahead of time being like, nah, I need to kind of go out. And so we played a whole session where nobody knew it was coming but me. And they tried really hard and almost did save me. I was like, please don't.
Oh no, I'm so sweaty, you can't hold on to me, rescue me.
They got real close. I was like, you're about to ruin my exit, hold on.
Yeah, I'll just echo the advice I gave earlier, which is communicate with your fellow players, with your GM, just talk to each other.
Which is very hard in tabletop role.
Yeah, I've read so many Reddit threads of like, well, I don't want to talk to my player, but I don't like what they're doing. How do I fix it? And it's like, have you tried talking to them?
More on Disorganized Play. From super few years ago, the group Obsidian Brews presented. They are a Black tabletop play group, and they had a lot of great points in terms of rule sets, representation, and kind of finding different ways and perspectives to approach games. Highly, highly, highly recommend checking out the recording, which this presentation really wants to do now. Also from Super, there's a pair, Sloan and Liv. They do an excellent presentation on how to create really memorable villains in a game. Not just a walking stat block, but how to like, okay, how can we really tie in this betrayal so it truly does like twist the knife emotionally for people.
Yeah.
They have great examples and great kind of stepping points or workshops and stuff for that. Which again, thank you presentation, we sadly do not have the time. How to get involved. We have a lot of Disorganized Play games here at MAGWest, I believe. John, if you want to plug some of this?
Oh, we have a ton. So we always, again, any convention that you see Growth Gaming at, which is here, Genesis, another Furry Con, Babs Con, I'm sure I'm missing a few others. But anytime you see us around, generally we are always going to have scheduled one-shots. We're working, of course, to get more organized play in there, but my big thing is it can't just be D&D. You gotta have options for everybody, from more story to more stats, whichever it is. So we've got a ton of them, and if you go over to Tabletop right out front, we have a front desk with all of them laid out and a little blurb about them. So pick a time slot that works and a story that sounds cool.
Yeah, like a team of Obasiahs, just put your head down and charge through these walls and adventure will await you. And a hospital room on the other side.
Hey, you know, we didn't promise full rewards.
We're playing Daggerheart in like 2 hours.
There you go, Daggerheart in 2 hours, soft plug for that. To find Disorganized Play in your community, use some of the organized play strategies that I mentioned, meet some people through that, determine, hey, y'all are cool, want to go play a game off the book somewhere? Yeah, that works. I think this is true for almost anything. It's always easier to find or be the person running the game to then getting players than vice versa. So if you want to play something and you're comfortable with it, make that pitch to your friends and saying, hey, let's try out this game. And I will always now advocate for state up front that you cannot always be the one running things. And that you have to warmly invite, by force if necessary, other people to run games so you can have a chance to have your silly shenanigans.
As I always like to state it, it doesn't exist unless you make it exist.
Yes.
So if you can't find it, make it.
If a TTRPG is a wish that lives in your heart, then
Wish harder.
wish harder. Do the work. Any questions about Disorganized Play from folks? At this point, feel free to shout them out and or type them in if you would like them immortalized.
This might be like another rabbit hole, but do you have any thoughts on West Marches? Kind of somewhere in between? Are you familiar with West Marches?
Not personally, I'm sorry
Okay.
to say.
From what I'm familiar with them, I'd say they're closer to the organized play state
I would agree. Basically, West Marches as a concept is multiple DMs, huge pool of players, basically organized play within a single community. So the DMs are still making their own homebrew adventures, maybe have their own shared world, but instead of Paizo handing down these adventures to run, it's just like this community that is built around making their own adventures and their own players. And sometimes, like there's Discord servers where they'll do it, and they'll do text role play in between sessions and whatever.
Oh, cool.
It's interesting because it has some of those aspects of Disorganized Play, of having more personal narrative and having a more cohesive homebrew world, but also, you get the benefits of organized play where it's less time restricted. You also get some of the disadvantages of both.
Nice, thank you for sharing that. I had no idea that was a thing.
Notably, part of the benefit of a West Marches organization has to do with switching the onus of time management and of organizing and scheduling away from the DM, who often takes that on by default, and shifting it more towards the players. Because if you have this huge group of players, then you get maybe a slightly different mix of players each time, but players basically say, now is the time I'm free. Who else wants to maybe do a game then? And then a DM can step in and be like, oh, I can run you an adventure at that time.
Oh, cool. So kind of players pitch or share their availability, and if enough of them have overlap, then a game master can kind of say, okay, cool, I can fill that slot or something.
It can be like that. It can also just be a game master who says, I'm running this session, here's the pitch. And
Okay,
people
so
sign
it
up.
can go either way.
Yeah.
There's flexibility.
But ideally,
Nice.
the DMs do less wrangling of their players over schedules.
Yes.
Fantastic, thank you guys.
If you hear the term living world, it means the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. We are just at time. So, quick summary, everyone. We have advantages. I did not edit this slide, so please pay no attention to this. Contact info and resources. Please scan the QR code now if you want to see everything immediately. Take a picture of this and use the URL later if you would like to follow up on anything afterwards. Getting a lot of nods from the audience and still a few phones out. We'll give it just a few more seconds and press that Shutter app button. Fake click sound. Fantastic. Thank you all so much for adventuring with us today. Enjoy your MAGWest.